Hello and welcome to the Inner Sanctum sessions with our very special guest teacher this week, Tanis Helliwell. Welcome, Tanis.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to me, to you, to everyone.
How can we be working with Mother Gaia and helping her evolve, I suppose, helping us and her evolve?
Well, I think that the ultimate problem that is causing all the issues that we've been discussing, whether it is that our politicians follow the money or big business follow the money, and this is the only way of judging success, whether we talk about vaccine or no vaccine, and people being fear-based, it all comes down to the very same issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue is separation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the fact that each person feels I am a separate entity. This is the ego speaking. I am a separate entity and I have to look after myself.
Right.
No one is going to ever look after me. So I've got to make as much money as I can. I have to get as many needles as I can to protect myself against others. I have to, it's all based on feeling separate. And so it is the original sin.
Right.
And the word sin actually means error. It was a word that came out of archery, and sin was the amount of error that an archer would have so that the arrow would not hit the mark. So the error is that we feel separate from the earth, we feel separate from others, we feel separate from the divine. And it all started with our feeling that we are separate from the universal consciousness, our creator, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, separate from love.
Yeah.
Yes. You know,
So
I
this is where we have to start. And
yeah.
and Karen, I think that most people would agree that love is the answer. In theory, people would say, I want to be a loving mother, father, child. I want to be a good teacher and do good by my students. I want to, I want to be a good person, which means I want to be a loving person. So in theory, people have got it, but it's not entered there, it's not gone down far enough so that they're actually practicing it, that it gets so strong that their lives are dedicated to service to all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would love do now? You know, I want to tell you a little bit of a story about the word sin. There was a pagan goddess before the churches were formed that was, her name was Sinna, the pagan goddess of Sinna, and she represented the feminine qualities, the intuition, creativity, the mother, the moon. And when the church was forming and writing their rules and regulations and creating their dogmatic beliefs, they actually used her name, Sin. They used the name Sin from the goddess Sinna, which represented the feminine principle. They damned it and made it like, if you go against the church or if you go against God, you're a sinner.
Oh, perfect.
Isn't that perfect? So
Perfect.
a few of us, a few girls went on a bit of a trip up to see, there are glyphs here in Australia, just outside of Sydney, the Egyptian hieroglyphic glyphs in stone in the bush that were put there by ETs, I suspect. Anyway, we went for a bit of a road trip to see them one day, and we were all talking about this, and we thought we would reclaim the word sin. And we called ourselves the Sinner Sisters, meaning, reclaiming that word. And instead of making it about how it goes against God, it was actually the expansion of the feminine principle, the intuition, creativity, the nurturer, the mother, the psychic, the witch, the healer. Yeah, so we call ourselves the sinner
Wonderful.
sisters. Isn't that amazing? But yeah, it's incredible.
Perfect.
It's incredible how, when you look into how words are formed, where they come from, and how it's all been orchestrated to sort of dumb down our powers of creation and feeling, as you were saying, Tanis, that orchestrated to keep us feeling separate from our power, separate from love, separate from God, separate from each other, the earth, the animals, the cosmos, like to keep us perpetuating this separateness. And then if you feel separate and alone, then there is this overwhelming feeling to protect yourself. I need to protect myself from when I get old, I need to protect myself by having money, or protect myself from a deadly disease that can hurt me or kill me. So this whole idea of protection is based in fear, isn't it? And
Oh,
separation.
yeah. Yeah. Yes, and so as we said, the answer ultimately is love,
I,
but it's not just love for our fellow human beings. It's which is a nice start, but it's going for a walk every day, and feeling love for the air and love for the trees and love for the soil and growing your own vegetables. It's if we reconnect with the earth, if we actually get reconnected to the earth, we start to, I think, move into this harmony again of wholeness, um, and not feel separate,
yeah,
not
yeah,
feel that.
yeah, absolutely. As I'm visualizing you talking about, getting in connected to the earth, like putting your hands in the soil and getting dirty and letting all those microbiome, all those microbes in the earth, all those bacteria and viruses and all that stuff that lives inside Gaia, like smearing it all over yourself. And that is actually being one with the microbiome organism of this world. And instead of, like, fear-based principles have been, every shop I walk into, they've got a sanitizer. Sanitize your hands, wash your hands, sanitize. Like we're in this war against the community, this trillions and trillions and trillions of points of consciousness that is the microbiome of our body and the earth, instead
Mhm.
of being one with it. I mean, this is really what we're looking at the moment with this virus that can hurt us. It's like maybe the virus is helping us clear out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it all is helping. I think the environmental emergencies and how the earth has upped the ante on things. I think that the virus. I think that we were talking about how individuals are going to the lower chakras of fear. And so are organizations.
Yeah.
This is why, the organizations who are doing inoculations and big pharma and all of these kinds of things are working together with the governments to try to control everything. But it's the same thing that's happening with individuals is happening with these large institutions,
Exactly.
and
Yep.
it's all based on fear.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so it's, anything that is based on fear cannot ultimately succeed.
Exactly. Exactly. We've got quiet mob here today. No questions. What is your tribe? What is is this a big topic of conversation amongst your community? Are they sort of all talking about, the current circumstances, or are they more interested in alleviating their negative thought forms and expanding their psychic abilities and stuff like that.
Well, I have two different communities, as
Hmm.
we all do. In fact, we have many communities, don't we? Just
Yeah,
many.
yeah, absolutely.
So, so my community online, um, I would say half of the people who follow me are vaccinated. I've asked, some of the people who've been studying with me for 20 years. They come right out and tell me, right? So half of them are vaccinated and half of them are not. And of the ones that are vaccinated, I would say that half of those, um, are adamant that this is the only way to go. And of the ones who are not vaccinated, I'd say half of those are adamant. So it's very interesting.
It's very split.
It,
Yeah,
it's very interesting in in my spiritual work. But what they all say that they like about our group or any group I'm ever doing is this feeling of community,
yeah,
and that everybody has a free choice and free will to make their own decision.
yeah,
So everyone is talks continually about this sense of community, and you don't get pushed out re- depending on your choices.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, which is really important at this time.
It
Really
is
important.
very, isn't it? It's because ultimately we're all human beings, and we're all doing the best we can with the information that we are hearing, because people hear different information depending on their frequency, depending on their woundings, their traumas, who they believe, and and so not we're all getting different information through our filters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I've found is, and I feel quite compassionate about this because I felt the same. My guides have said to me that as the light turns up on planet Earth, it is revealing the distortion for the distortion to be seen and witnessed. And therefore, like we witness our own distortion within our body, like our criticism, like when we
Mhm.
witness it with that place of awareness, witnessing it from a divine awareness, then do we have any hope of transmuting it? Like without awareness, it cannot, go. We have to be aware of it. And so it's the same with what's happening on planet Earth. As the distortion is being witnessed, and we can only when we can witness it from that divine awareness can it be transmuted or resolved or dissolved. And what so many people don't want to do is they don't want to see, they don't want to see that there is this corruption in this world, that there is this. I mean, they're just like, oh, I can't even believe that this is true, that governments aren't, doing it for our best interest, and that there are pedophiles in the world, and that many of them are people in government or judges, that the people that we put our trust in, heads of police and heads of governments and stuff like that, could actually be doing these terrible things. It's like they can't even go there. They can't even imagine it, which I understand, because you don't want to, like, your worldview just shatters when you see the true
Yes.
corruption in this world. It's
Yeah,
shattering.
yeah. And people, it's like a lot of people are still in a more childlike state,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more dependent on authorities
Mm-hmm.
to help them with their values,
Mm-hmm.
whether that is their spiritual values
Mm.
or their values on how to be safe or successful in the world. And as soon as you start questioning this, it's like a domino effect.
Absolutely.
And their ego knows it. Their ego knows that as soon as they start, it's a domino effect, and it is just too scary. And because they don't feel that they have the answer. And this is the whole thing about people want to live in a world where there is no change, where
Mm.
everything is known. Humans don't do very well with the unknown. We,
I
you
know.
know, we don't do very well with the unknown. But
Shirley's laughing.
yeah, and and um, and it makes us very insecure. So if we're going to, leave this position to go to this position, we want to make sure that we have the plan all laid out, and that is. There's a rope and maybe a chain that is going to connect us. And to just, come into this void of not knowing. It's incredibly scary because it isn't just going against the government and our political leaders. It's I won't have any friends. My children won't come to visit me. I'm going to lose my job. Just think of the implications of it. It is terrifying what the implications are as they witness what is happening to people who do not follow the plan. It's like an animal, like birds, for example. If there is if there's a weak little bird that's been born in a nest, the other little birds are going to push it out of the nest and get rid of it. And people who step outside of the norm, whatever the norm is, people who step outside, they are in danger of being gotten rid of, right? So, no, it's this animal instinct. I've got to be part of the safe group, the majority.
Sorry, I just unmuted myself. Yes, humanity is free falling at the moment. We are all free falling, like the bird that's been pushed out. We're free falling. And I think the wisdom to all of this, Tanis, is to enjoy the fall. Like enjoy enjoy. Deepak Chopra would say, the wisdom of uncertainty, like the wisdom of uncertainty. Nothing is certain, nothing is clear, nothing is planned, nothing. That's how I live my life. Like I turn up for these shows, like I'll book people in, so that's clear that you're coming to speak or you're coming to meet us and talk to us, but nothing is planned, nothing is certain. I'm just free falling through life, free falling and trusting the divine to show me the way. Like just that trust, it comes down to that trust that your guides and your angels and your masters, they're the ones with the plan. You can be the one free falling through this physical life, right? Do you want to just tell people about what you've got on offer?
Um, the next online retreat, which is we're going to be on Zoom, and it goes on for 10 weeks, and it's on spiritual ancestors and healing. And so this divided into 3 modules, and the first module is our past lives, and looking at a significant past life and to find out how any woundings or traumas that we might have experienced then is living through us currently. And also any of the people that we knew then, how are the relationships with those in our lives currently? Because I've discovered that we do incarnate in group pods. And so we often know our mother, our father, our friends, our spouses, and to better understand our relationships now and the issues that we're facing or the gifts we have, it's really lovely to be able to experience a past life. And I've also discovered that often we created the issue that we are facing, our core issue in this life, we actually created it in a past life. So that's the first module. And then the second module is in our hybrids and finding out what kind of hybrid we are, living in this human body, these one of these 22 kinds of hybrids, angel, dragon, elemental, and and to find out if that's the case, what are the gifts of that hybrid? And how do, rather than going against the flow, why not manifest through your gift and honor it? Honor what that is. And the third part is our soul ancestor. And what that is that our we've had many lives, and our soul has had many lives here. But often, in fact, I think always, we have great beings who are helping our soul. And there may be one or two great beings that have been with our soul for eons. And who is this? And what are they working on helping us develop? And how to heal any traumas that we have. So it's our soul ancestor. And that could be a Jesus, but that could be, or it could be a Krishna. It could be a mother. It could be a Tara, a Mother Mary, white calf, white buffalo calf woman. It could be whatever.
And what are the dates of these workshops, Tanis?
Oh, it starts in late January after Christmas,
Wonderful.
and there are people from all over the world. And so we have a talk one week where I do my thing, and it's recorded for folks, and we have guided visualizations and a workbook. And then the second week, we have a community chat where people get to talk in small groups of 5 around what they found out about their past lives or their hybrid and what that means for them. So they work with a small group, and I'm there as a participant, and I may be in their group. Who knows? I'm a participant. And then the third group, I come back and I do the guided visualizations and the meditations to help them heal, and we have a Q&A so that people can ask questions.
Perfect. Sounds brilliant.